Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, February 27th. A lot to talk about this morning. We have two different systems I want to focus in on. The first one today will impact a wide area of the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast U.S. It looks like the first decent snowfall of the season for places like New York City, probably the Poconos, northeastern PA as well, all the way up to Boston, for example. A wintry mix is likely in the Philadelphia metro region. It looks like primarily a rain event south of the Mason-Dixon line. We have another storm threat to deal with in the northeastern part of the nation late in the week, and there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered about that one. But let's start off here by looking at last night's ensemble run of the Canadian model, just looking at the 500 millibar height anomalies to see the evolving change to the overall weather pattern across North America, and it includes high latitude blocking that increases the chance for cold air masses to make their way into the Northeast, into the Mid-Atlantic region from the eastern part of Canada. This is the area to focus in on. This is Greenland right here. You can start to see already we're seeing some of these higher heights than normal, and that is the beginning signs of this high latitude blocking. And we'll walk through the next several days here and watch this as it evolves into a pretty strong high latitude blocking event. Let's go now through the day on Monday and then into the middle part of the week. And here we have kind of an extension of this purple area, which is way above normal heights across Iceland and Greenland. Meanwhile, we still have that ridge across the eastern part of the U.S. that has been a persistent pattern for the last couple of months, and it will indeed produce some more mild weather on Wednesday and Thursday in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and that's after today's wintry mix and snow up across the northeastern part of the nation. But here we go into the latter part of the week, and here it is, the real development of the high latitude blocking over Greenland, for example. This is now by Friday. After that, what we'll start to watch for is, and I'm going quickly through this, is you notice here a couple of troughs starting to show up, quite impressive troughs. Here we have this significant blocking across northeastern part of Canada, Greenland. This is a week from now, the early part of next week. This trough and this trough will be of interest starting next week and beyond, because I think what they'll do is kind of connect, and that opens the door for potentially a wild weather pattern. Right here, you see this connection here. This is from the Canadian ensemble run last night at 0Z, and I kind of favor this particular scenario over the next couple of weeks. You see, we're all the way out now, past 10 days into the end of next week, March 10th, and this is what we'll watch for. First of all, high latitude blocking does set up here over northern Canada, Greenland, and then we'll see kind of an undercutting that ridge, strong jet, and maybe a connection of the trough over the Atlantic Ocean and the western U.S. into one deep area below normal heights, cutting right across the Mid-Atlantic region, and that could make for some interesting weather come the middle of the month of March. Well, let's talk about the near term, and I wanted to use the high resolution model of the NAM. The NAM comes out in two different resolutions. One is the higher resolution model, what we call here the 3-kilometer resolution, and I think it has a little better handle on a situation like this, where we'll have narrow bands of warmer air in the upper part of the atmosphere causing sleet in some areas, freezing rain, and a mixture of rain and snow in other areas. So I wanted to focus in on the high resolution NAM model. The 12 kilometers, the more broad resolution, less of a resolution model version here. But this is the high resolution NAM model. Notice this vorticity here as we begin the day here on Monday, February 27th. Pushes north and east, but then kind of runs into that brick wall in the atmosphere. Really kind of a sign of high latitude blocking farther to the north here. This can only go so far. It dampens or weakens, and a secondary low starts to form over the Mid-Atlantic region. That's why this is kind of a complex situation over the next 24 hours over the northeastern part of the nation. Let's go on an hourly basis. Notice the push to the north and east, but really that's about the farthest north this upper level energy can penetrate. It kind of runs into an atmospheric brick wall, starts to turn back in this direction, and that's why this initial storm system de-amplifies or weakens, and a secondary takes over off the likely off the northern mid-Atlantic coastline later tonight into tomorrow. And that presents all kinds of possibilities that it can pull cold air back down later on tonight and maybe cause a changeover back to sleet and snow in some parts of the mid-Atlantic region. Here we are now all the way into tomorrow morning, and that finally pulls away off the northeastern coastline by midday on Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the surface weather maps from that high resolution NAM model. This is as we begin the day here on a Monday morning, and it's not all that cold. We often talk about the 540 thickness line here. Cuts right across east central Pennsylvania into central New Jersey. That tends to be a range snow line, and that's why this is certainly a mixed bag in parts of the mid-Atlantic region. Again, I think primarily a plain rain event south of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, a wintry mix right at the border in the southern part of PA, especially Philly metro region. We'll see a wintry mix, primarily sleet and snow when you get up to I-80 north and east. Lehigh Valley, probably 2 to 4 inches, maybe 3 to 6 inches across the Poconos, northeastern PA, interior sections of northwestern New Jersey, probably 2 to 4 inches in Central Park, maybe 3 to 6 in Boston later on tonight and on Tuesday. Let's go on an hourly basis here, again using the high resolution NAM model. Pretty much dry in the DC, Philadelphia, New York City corridor until the very end of the afternoon. So it looks like no commuting problems, at least through the early commute this evening. And here we go. Precipitation starts to move in at the end of the day, maybe 5, 6 o'clock. DC, Philadelphia, New York City, again, primarily rain south of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, but it'll be cold enough for some sleet and maybe some snow, let's say from the northern suburbs of Philadelphia, and I'm talking about Bucks and Montgomery County, maybe northern Chester County as well, north and east. Certainly I-80, late Lehigh Valley area will get primarily snow and sleet, as will interior northwest New Jersey, and certainly the Poconos, northeastern PA, a decent amount of snow out of this system. Here we are now, late this evening, we're talking about 8, 9 p.m. this evening, and look at that, sleet all the way into the Philly suburbs, snow over Allentown, Poconos, northeastern PA, into interior New Jersey, rain down across D.C., southern New Jersey, Delmarva Peninsula, and this tends to be the trend over the overnight hours here with, again, I-80, kind of a dividing line between the frozen precipitation north of there and some liquid precipitation south of there. Again, I think the Philly metro region is really a mixed bag of rain, sleet, and snow with some small accumulations, maybe according to a couple of inches. Those northern suburbs, Bucks and Montgomery County, for example, maybe northern Chester County as well. Then it slides to the north and east, and Boston picks up decent amount of snow, maybe 3 to 6 inches late tonight and tomorrow. This is the Tuesday morning forecast map. Tends to wind down as maybe some light drizzle in southeastern PA by mid-morning on Tuesday. Still some snow up across lower Hudson Valley, maybe New York City, northeastern PA, all the way into New England by the middle of the morning on Tuesday. Well, let's now walk through the operational run of the Canadian model, and here we'll go forward into the late week event. First of all, as we begin the day here on a Monday, again, that primary low way out to the west of the I-95 corridor region, but it'll run kind of into that atmospheric roadblock and die out here, and a secondary will form, and we'll see this. It comes to precipitation by the end of the day here into the immediate I-95 corridor region. We're talking 4, 5, 6 p.m. DC, Philadelphia, New York City, primarily frozen north of Route I-80. Let's say Lehigh Valley, Poconos, northeastern PA, interior northern part of New Jersey into New York City. Then we'll go into the late night hours, and you can kind of see right here a secondary forming. And this is let me make this a little bit bigger here. This is a secondary low forming right in this region right here. This primary low tends to weaken and die out, and this becomes the main player later on tonight. And that can pull down some colder air here, right here. As we get into the early morning hours, here's kind of the dominant low at this time. This initial one still there, but tends to weaken. This becomes kind of the dominant player, and there can be some kind of backtracking of that cold air. It may lift to the north for a little while and come back, wrapping around this developing, this strengthening mid-Atlantic coastal system, and that colder air could change let's say rain back to sleet and snow in some parts of east central PA, maybe down into the northern suburbs of Philly later on tonight. Now let's keep moving forward. Now let's start to talk about the midweek and late week. First of all, the midweek, we saw that ridge popping up again along the eastern seaboard. It looks like Wednesday and Thursday could be very mild days once again. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, likely the 60s, for example, in D.C. on both of those days. But then this system comes through right here on Thursday. That will slide a cold front through the mid-Atlantic region, sets the stage for some interesting weather possibilities on Friday. Here we go on Friday morning. Again, this is the Canadian model run. There's been big differences, let me point out, for the Friday system in the I-95 corridor region between these models. The GFS has tended to be farther to the north and west with the track of the low. That brings primarily a rain event. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. European and Canadian models tend to be a little bit colder, a little bit farther to south and east, with more possibilities of accumulating snow in the immediate I-95 corridor region. Remains to be seen. Stay tuned to arcfieldweather.com over the next few days. But one of the things I'll be looking for, I always like to see a high pressure over southeastern Canada if, in fact, you want to see the possibility of snow in the immediate I-95 corridors. That's what the Canadian model is putting out here, and you have low pressure way down to the south here at this particular time. Again, we're talking now Friday morning. This is the time period that's in a lot of question. Maybe an initial low going up into the Ohio Valley, and then a secondary, kind of like today's situation, forming near the Mid-Atlantic coastline. This is the Canadian model run that has a colder solution than the GFS, with that initial low kind of dying out and giving way to a secondary over the North Carolina, eastern part of North Carolina. That allows for colder air to penetrate a little farther to the south and east. This is now the Friday night time zone. Notice again, we have this crucial player, potentially have this crucial player of strong high pressure over southeastern Canada that allows for some cold air to push down into the northeastern part of the nation, go out a little bit farther in time, and this has quite a snow event, let's say Pennsylvania, north and east, with that secondary low moving off the Mid-Atlantic coastline by Saturday morning. It finally pulls away by midday, late part of Saturday. So that'll be something we'll monitor over the next several days. Looks like another complex system at the end of the week, with an initial low going up perhaps into the Ohio Valley, and then a secondary near the Mid-Atlantic coastline late Friday night, Saturday time frame. In the immediate future, we have a pretty decent winter storm coming to the northeastern part of the nation, primarily a rain event south of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, a mixed bag in the Philly metro region, primarily snow and sleet, Lehigh Valley, Poconos, northeastern PA, interior northern New Jersey, maybe 2 to 4 inches in the Lehigh Valley, in New York City, maybe a coating to a couple of inches in the northern suburbs of Philly. I think a 3 to 6 inch band. Poconos, northeastern PA into interior New Jersey, and that 3 to 6 inch band will extend all the way up into, let's say, New England, places like Boston, late tonight and on Tuesday. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Doria.